seconds. Let me ask you how many pulses you have left. In other words, 15 seconds. Count me down to 5.
Will do. 10 seconds.
10 seconds. Stand by to roll tape.
Roll tape. 5, 4,
3. Roll it.
2, 1. You're up.
Hello, my name's Terrence Thompson. As a producer-director, I've had the good fortune to work with some of the most interesting celebrities over the last few decades. I've chosen the best interviews from my personal library for this series called The Pioneers of Television. This episode, I'm featuring the man who started the family sitcom comedy. In the 1950s, it's Danny Thomas.
My next guest is a legend.
Huh?
For 11 years, his show Make Room for Daddy was one of the most successful and honored comedies. Behind the camera, he has been responsible for the creation of such favorites as The Dick Van Dyke Show, Andy Griffith Show, Gomer Pyle, just to name a few. Should I name them all?
Walter Brennan.
Walter.
Real McCoy.
Oh, yeah.
Marvelous.
Oh, yes.
And it's nice being with you, Michael.
He doesn't register.
Demographics, my foot. Come on. There are no geniuses. Who knows? If there were a genius who really knew, he'd be a zillionaire. But let's not digress from the thing. I got to tell you a great thing about that. It was in radio in Chicago. And
soap opera.
Soap opera. I just came from Detroit, and knowing the dialects and stuff from the old beer gardens, now I'm doing them legit. And I get on shows. I played with John Hodiak in Thunder Over Paradise.
Oh, my gosh.
Remember John, the great actor?
Of course.
I played a half-breed Russian penal colony guard who dropped people in quicklime. What a horror. Fellow I was. Anyway, but there was a show on
What did you sound like as that Russian character?
I did like what Tamarov, down in there. All right, throw now it goes down. He made sounds. It's nothing.
A lot of grunting.
There was no grunting. There were no lines. He said, give it to him. I take. Now.
Did you ever play more than one role in one of those because of your dialects?
Yeah, because, if
Because that used to happen a lot.
Well,
Guys
if
would
there
go
was
play
an
2 or 3 roles.
when you did shows like News Comes to Life, which was a mini March of Time, you had to do dialects. There were the prototypes in those days. If you were a tailor, you were Jewish. If you ran a restaurant, you were a Greek. If you shined shoes, or you were a porter, you were black. If you were a peddler of tapestries and stuff, you were Lebanese or Syrian and so forth. And if you were Irish, you were a cop. And if you drove a cab, you talked out of the side of your mouth. And that was it. That was in those days. That was it. You can't do it now.
We have to pause for 1 second.
Why?
We got to sell something.
What are you going to sell?
Maybe your show. Who knows?
Maxi or Mini? we'll be right back.
Back with the great Danny Thomas. Finish that story, that radio soap.
Anyway, I was just a young guy in one of the stations that tried, and of course none of the people are going to be named. The woman, the writer, the creator of the show was a woman.
Of the soap.
The woman of the soap was a woman, and
usually are.
Not a baby, I think. And this young macho kid comes along, and she finds him, got a good voice, nice tone, and she gives him one of the leads in the thing. And meanwhile, Amour takes over. She likes him a lot, and he's very nice to her. Then it goes on for quite a while. Then she discovers he's making hanky-panky with a younger girl. Now he comes to work one day, and you know how we used to do in the old days, you turn the script, wherever your name is. Hans Conried taught me that. You'd circle your name.
That's
so you
right.
know that you're going to speak here. Now he's going through the thing, not reading the script. He doesn't see his name, and he doesn't know why he showed up for work that day. He doesn't see his name. Now the play goes on the air, and they are lamenting the fact that this crazy kid jumped out of the window, killed himself.
End of the part.
Isn't that marvelous?
Oh, is that what?
So
he didn't know.
Had nothing about it. They kept through the whole thing. How could he do it? That crazy kid, and she loved him, whatever the girl was saying. Well, till I got a circle, because I knew the real story.
Oh my God.
So there's the motto, the moral is don't cheat on the producer.
We were talking about cable, and the other night I came in and I started to do my thing at the beginning of the show. And I came across a thing about a new show being done by Home Box Office or somebody? Showtime. Showtime. Called Romance. and it's a soap opera, and they're going to have frontal nudity on this show.
I heard about it, yeah. Well, I don't know.
Well, what are your feelings?
That
about
disturbs me. I think you've got it so much every place else. I would pray to God that cable doesn't do it.
Well, that's what this is.
Just don't do it. Don't do it. I mean, the morals of the nation are low enough as it is. You know,
Oh, hallelujah.
I would tell you, one time I saw a movie years ago, and I broke up the whole movie. This guy went to bed with this girl 3 times and performed the sex act. And when he was starting in the 3rd time, I jumped up in the theater and hollered, "I know how now!" And the people screamed. They screamed. I ruined the picture. You know, whatever happened to the days when he or she led him to that room, and then suddenly the camera panned over them or lifted up over them and then went out to a smiling cat or to the birds flying in the trees.
And leaves
and the
moving on
next
the
morning
trees.
they're in robes and she says, "I love you." He said, "I love you too. I think I'll make some coffee." You know they did it. But, you know, I used
Leave
to...
something to the imagination.
Something.
Right? Yeah.
Imagination is the most marvelous thing in the world. I am a storyteller. I have no other talent. And the fact that I do, please God, tell the stories rather well by painting a word picture, which is, I'm an ancient Phoenician, and that was the first art form, telling stories. By painting this picture, I let your imagination run rampant. The best analogy is Jack Benny's Maxwell, the car.
Yeah.
When they showed it, it was gone. You must have been 18 to 20 million different concepts of what that Maxwell looked like.
What it looked like.
Fibber McGee's closet. Every time Fibber opened that closet, there was a tremendous crash.
And Molly would say something like, "Oh,
Whatever.
try to stop him," and it
she
was
can't.
inevitable.
Now, everything fell out. What fell out? Whatever you got in your house fell out. And each house had something different.
And everybody had a closet like
They
that,
had
too.
closet,
Yeah.
paint cans, the golf thing. Once they showed it on TV, the end. The imagination. If you dramatize a story I did and made a living with called A Flat Tire and No Jack, if I did that, if you dramatized
That became
it,
a classic.
it'd be dead.
Yeah.
But you told the story. Stories are beautiful. Can you dramatize this? This little Irish priest has got this little place, you know, in the house. And the maid, Bridget, she keeps coming, she says, "Father, the fender on your car is dented." And then she'd say to him, the upholstery on your couch is torn. "Father, your windows are filled." He said to her, "Look, Bridget, I'm a priest. I've taken the vows of poverty. They're not mine. They belong to the church. If you don't mind, would you kindly say our couch, our car, our window? The bishop is coming next week. Don't embarrass me. He's liable to think that I'm trying to take all these things for myself. Everything is our. Do you understand that? And if you don't do it, you're fired. I'm telling you now, you're fired. Everything is our." Now the bishop comes, and they're having tea and some biscuits or what have you, and they're talking, and suddenly they hear a blood-curdling scream upstairs, and Bridget comes running. She says, Father, there's a mouse in our bed."
We're coming right back. Danny, thank you. Oh, I didn't mention your golf tournament.
Oh, you didn't?
We're coming right back with Stephen Stills and Graham Nash, but when is your golf tournament? Quickly.
Well, I got to tell you, just give me 1 minute after
All
I
right.
come back. And then
1
I'll-
minute after we come back.
and
We'll
then
be
I'll
right
go.
back.
I'll go. If I don't mention Rosie's back, she'll kill me. She's watching.
Well, gang, next you're going to see something unusual for TV. As the director of this show, I was worried that the unpredictable Danny might go long on the next transition. Stephen Stills and Graham Nash were the next guests. They're my generation, and I always loved Crosby, Stills, and Nash, so I wanted them to have time and a full-length segment. But Danny is a well-known philanthropist who's done so much for society with his charities, and I wanted him to have a chance to promote an upcoming event. So who gets the time? So it's a television director's dilemma. Next, since I wasn't out on the floor and I was in the control room, what you'll see is awkward to say the least. But everyone was a good sport and everything went fine. So this is what happened.
I can't invite the man over to talk. We'll without mentioning the big bash coming up for St. Jude,
right.
the golf tournament, and the big bash.
June and July are going to be big St. Jude Children's Research Hospital months. You know, St. Jude, I'm going to take up a lot of your time, folks, and I'm not begging for any funds. God will take care of it. People are taking care of it. The budget is $90,000 a day, and we don't owe anybody anything.
Wow.
So, you know, St. Jude Children's Research Hospital is saving a lot of lives. But we need this extracurricular activity. My wife is putting on her 4th annual St. Jude Hospital Bash at the Century Plaza Hotel July 10th in Los Angeles, and Wayne Newton is our superstar this year.
Hello.
We expect to raise a minimum of $1 million. That's July 10th. June 9th, we begin the Danny Thomas Memphis Classic Golf Tournament, the Pro-Am, and that night we will celebrate the 20th anniversary of St. Jude Hospital, and then it'll be on network, CBS Network, the 12th and 13th, Saturday and Sunday, on the air for people to see, and all the proceeds go to St. Jude Hospital. Michael, it's so good being with you.
Thank you, Danny.
And of course, you're coming to the July 10th Bash, God willing. It's a Saturday night. You don't work that night.
I don't
and
work.
Friday we're having a
I
party.
work the Friday night, but I'm going to come to your house
Friday,
right
as soon
after.
as you're through, we'll save the chicken for you.
Listen, your heartbeat is not speeded up at all. You're perfect. 72 right now.
Anyone that sits with you is essentially relaxed. You know I love the Irish.
Thank you, God.
Take care of yourself.
Danny Thomas.
Goodbye.
God bless.
Take care. Ah,
Here they are.
Michael.
How are you?
How are you?
All right. You? How are you?
Hi, Mike.
You know who these people are? My next guests have been making music and rock history for years as members of groups like Buffalo Springfield, the Hollies, and supergroup Crosby, Stills, and Nash. They have influenced an entire generation, continuing to innovate both individually and as a team. And tonight, they come to share with us their feelings on a very important issue. Here are Graham Nash, Stephen Sills. I can hear the young voices going, wee out there. I read over the weekend in the Los Angeles Times about this Peace Sunday event that's happening. And
At the Rose Bowl.
And we talked about it this week on the show.
Great.
And the list of people, go over the list of people, it's incredible.
Well, from some of the musicians that we've gotten together, there's myself and Stephen, of course, possibly David, Jackson Brown, Linda Ronstadt, Danny Fogelberg, Joan Baez,
Stevie Wonder.
Taj Mahal, Donovan, Jesse Colin Young.
No wonder you need the Rose Bowl.
It's going to be
And you're going to
fabulous.
fill it. And I've heard rumors, only rumors, of names like Springsteen, McCartney.
There are rumors at this point, for sure.
What is the purpose of the event, gentlemen?
To give everybody that never had a voice, you know. So many people think that, you know, what can I do? I'm just one person.
Exactly,
you know.
and that's what they say.
You know,
when you ask
but
them
there'll be, you know, 74,999 other lonely people there, you know, all raising our voices to sing, to make a statement to the administration that there's a vast constituency of people out there that are very upset with their run towards the world's arms race. And so we're in support of the United Nations Special Sessions on Disarmament, which starts the day after on June 7. We're going to have this concert on June 6th. And in June 12 in New York, they're going to possibly get 500,000 people. So during that week in June, there's going to be a major statement made by the people of the country that they're upset about the course that's being taken.
Now, speaking of the people of the country, the people who cannot be at the Rose Bowl on Peace Sunday, what can they do?
Write a letter
There's lots of things,
whom?
you know.
to whoever whoever represents you. Dwight Eisenhower said something interesting before he left office. He said many interesting things. He
Yeah.
said, let's see if I get it right. He said, the people of this country want peace so badly that one of these days the government is going to have to get out of the way and let them have it. And that's sort of the way it goes. The process of getting into a rational debate or rational discussions with the Soviets is something that is, all the mechanism is there, and it's an attitude that has to change within the administrations and the people that draft the resolutions. And
It's
go
gathering
and do-
momentum incredibly throughout the world.
They've got to believe, though, that the people of the country are serious about
You know,
it.
Robert Culp said something. He was very excited when he was talking, and I mentioned the fact that I had seen, and I'm sure you did too, the Japanese people.
400,000 people in
400,000
Tokyo.
people showing up. He
All of
said-
them dying at the same time, symbolically. I thought it was
Exactly.
wonderful.
It was
Yeah.
just wonderful. And he said if we could just get them and all of us and walk into Moscow and say, hey, we're not really the
Well, you know
heavies.
what?
We don't want any
Just
of this.
recently, they had 400,000 people in Romania. at an anti-nuke demonstration, which was amazing, led by the premier of the country in Romania.
Yeah,
so dialogue is happening. Nobody wants a unilateral disarmament, of course. It has to be a bilateral thing.
But that's so typical of Mr. Eisenhower to say something like that, and so meaningful.
They better get out of the way.
Yeah.
Exactly.
In the 60s, guys, the late 60s played such an important role in the day's social issues. Can it still?
Absolutely.
The music.
Steve and I and lots of people have noticed that in this beginning part of the 80s, there's a very similar feeling to the 60s. Apathy is dying. People are beginning to realize that they are the constituency of the entire country, and they are raising their voices.
And the fact that we're 12 years older has something to do with the manner in which we take on these things. In other words, I can see how in the late 60s, some of the crazies in the streets could be quite frightening to a lady from Des Moines, you know. So, but now I am the father of her grandchild, and that's who we're defending more than anybody, you see. And so, you know, I have copies of Senate resolutions and so on in my briefcase downstairs, and we're attacking it on that level as well, and it's not an attack, it's just simply stating a very obvious fact.
The exciting thing is the unity created between, I mean, the church is getting more and more deeply involved in this nuclear arms race issue. They are co-sponsoring the show at the Rose Bowl with the Alliance for Survival. And when you can get the churches to agree amongst themselves, that's a major step in itself.
I should say.
You know, for them to agree to...
You know, tomorrow night Ed Asner will be here, and it just occurred to me that whole Lou Grant issue.
Well, I refuse to abrogate my rights as a citizen because I happen to make my living from being in the public eye, an entertainer. I'm first a father and a citizen of this country, and no one will tell me that I don't have the right and the duty to stand up and say whatever I choose about whatever I choose.
I am surprised the more people don't feel that way.
Oh, it appalls me that they even talk about it.
It's getting larger. The constituency is growing by leaps and bounds. You can't open a newspaper or turn on a television nowadays without seeing something about so radical issues with the strangest people voicing their opinion.
Martin Sheen was here the other night and said something that stayed with me. He said the Vietnam War would still be going if it hadn't been for the people.
Very possibly. And if the American people can stop the Vietnam War, surely we can make a major statement and help stop what could possibly be the annihilation of the human species.
Oh, there's no question about it. Nobody is going to win the next war, should there be another war.
They're trying to make it thinkable.
That's right. No. That's what's so frightening. They are.
But anybody who buys
they've got this obsession with civil defense, and they want everybody from LA is supposed to go to the desert. You have 17 minutes to get to the desert.
Take your credit cards. Take your credit
minutes on that road.
See you on the freeway.
That is ludicrous. I'll be right back. Thank you, gentlemen, very much, and good luck on Peace Sunday. God bless you both. That's wonderful.